Hey y'all, what's going on? So we've got another example here of a couple of objects connected by a string. We got a pulley, and again we're going to be finding the acceleration of masses and tension of the string. Now this one's a little bit different because it is at an angle, so we've got a ramp there. We're kind of combining all the different things we've done so far, right? Having a couple of blocks connected by a string with a pulley on a ramp, everything together. We are going to say that the pulley and string are ideal. We are going to say that the surface is frictionless. Okay? Other than that, I think all the information we need is here. It tells us that the block on the ramp, on the frictionless ramp, is 5 kilograms. We know that the ball that's hanging is 10 kilograms. And then we've got our angle of the ramp, which is 30 degrees. All right? So let's go ahead and go through this. Hopefully you're recognizing by this point, if I have a couple objects connected by a string, then it is likely that I'm going to want to treat those as a system, especially if I'm finding the acceleration there. It's helpful to be able to do that to get rid of some of those extra forces like the tension, right? And so we're going to go ahead and do this, just like that. Include all those objects there. All right. Now, for this one, we do need to continue to look at each of the forces on each of the objects. This one will be a little bit different because it is on a ramp, but we've done a ramp before, so that's okay. We can do this, right? So let's look at the 10 kilogram first. Okay, we do know that we have the force of gravity on that 10 kilogram object, which is pulling straight down. We have the tension, which is up, but the tension is internal, right? We've talked about that in the last couple of videos, so let's go on from there. We move over to the other object, which is right here. That is being pulled with tension this way. Okay, well that's internal, so we don't have to worry about that. We do have this force of gravity, which is still down, right? So force of gravity on the 5 kilogram object. Okay, and then we also have kind of perpendicular to the slope, we do have the normal force, right? So the normal force is up in this direction. So that would be the normal force on the 5 kilogram object. Okay? Now, as we're looking at each of those, right, we can now see, okay, well, what is actually going to affect my system here? Now, the system, of course, is going to either accelerate down the ramp or it's going to accelerate this way up the ramp. So again, we're going to either have that kind of counterclockwise motion or that clockwise motion. And so as per usual, I'm going to go ahead and define the positive direction to be the counterclockwise. Okay? Now for the system, I am going to write out all of the forces that are causing that kind of rotation. All right? So I'm going to go, sum of the forces on the system equals the mass times the acceleration of the system. If you need to put a little s on the mass as well, because a lot of times students forget, and when they get to this final point where they start doing the mass times the acceleration, they only put one of the masses there. If you need to remind yourself that we're working with the whole system here, then you could put ms there to remind yourself that we do need the mass of the system there. All right, now some of the forces, what have we got? Well, we've got the force of gravity on the 10 block, okay? That's going this way, which is positive, okay? So I'll go force of gravity on the 10 block. That'll be in the positive direction, okay? We talked about tension. We come over here. Notice that the normal force is perpendicular to the motion of the block. What that means is that it's probably not going to affect the acceleration of our motion. Now, remember, one of the things that we did do is that we actually, when we had something on a angle like this, on a ramp, we said instead of a horizontal x-axis, we're going to tilt it like this. Now, the interesting thing is that you don't have to use the same axis for both blocks. Okay? Now, this is weird for a lot of people because they're like, well, you mean you're going to tilt the axis for the one on the ramp and you're not going to tilt the other one? Yeah, it's because of that pulley. The pulley allows the string to transfer forces in a different direction, right? But in the end, the pulley's going to go one way or the pulley's going to turn the other way, right? And so anything that makes the pulley turn one way can essentially be the same component, the same axis. And so really our x-axis is going to go up here, and then the x-axis is going to go down here. It's always going to be parallel to the string. The x-axis will be anything that causes motion in the direction parallel to the string. Our y-axis is going to be anything that's perpendicular to that, anything that is perpendicular to the motion of the string. All right, so we'll notice here that the normal force is perpendicular, so that's not going to matter. The force of gravity, though, as per normal, is a little bit weird. It's not on our y-axis anymore. And so we see that we will have a vertical component of gravity, which ideally will balance the normal force there. But we will still have this extra segment right here, right? That is parallel to the x-axis. Okay, this is my right angle right here. And so therefore I do need to include that in my sum of the forces. That is opposite the angle. Remember, that angle up there is always equal to the rotation of the angle of the ramp, the angle of inclination there. And so this is going to be a 30-degree angle. This is the opposite side, and so that's going to be FG. Opposite side will be sine of theta. Okay? Now this is that direction, right? It is not in my positive direction. It's not making me go counterclockwise here. It is clockwise, and so I'm actually going to make that be negative. So I'm going to go minus the force of gravity on the 5 block times sine of theta. All right? And that will equal the mass of the system, which will be the 10 kilogram block plus the 5 kilogram block times the acceleration of the system. All right, so now I can put some numbers in. Sorry, I kind of got a little bit sloppy here. I've got some variables and some numbers. Let's go ahead and throw in all the numbers that we have, right? We've got the force of gravity on the 10 block, so that would be mg. So that would be 10 times 9.8 minus the force of gravity on the 5 block, which would be its mass times g, right, mg, times sine of theta, which is 30, and then that is equal to 10 plus 5, which is 15 acceleration of the system. So from here, you should just be able to calculate it, right? There's only one variable. This is fairly straight up. You should just be able to type this into your calculator. So I'm going to go 10 times 9.8 minus 5 times 9.8 times sine of 30. Make sure I'm in degrees, not radians. And I push enter, and I get 73.5. So 73.5 is equal to 15 AS. Divide both sides by 15, and I get 4.9 equals AS. And that, of course, would be meters per second squared, because I started with everything in SI units. Okay, so there we go. We were able to find the acceleration of the blocks. Of course, the acceleration of the system is the same as the acceleration of those individual blocks because they are connected. Now, if we didn't have them connected, but we treated them as a system anyway, maybe they could have different accelerations. But because they are connected by the string, then the magnitude of their acceleration has to be the same. They have to have the same change in their speed because of that string connecting them. All right? Okay, now, we're not quite done, right? The question was to find the acceleration and to find the tension in the string. So the acceleration of this block would be 4.9 meters per second squared up the ramp. The acceleration of this one would be 4.9 meters per second downwards. Notice that both of those are what we would consider positive. I got a positive answer. If I worked this out and I got a negative number, that means that the acceleration would be clockwise. So it would be down the ramp and up here. But we don't really expect that given that this mass is bigger than that one, right? If this mass is bigger, it should be pretty clear that it should be rotating that way. All right? That's why I get a positive. Okay? Just remember, positives, negatives, they're not really anything other than direction. and the direction always has to do with what you have defined here as your convention. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the tension in the string. So for the tension in the string, we're going to look at one of the two objects. So I can either look at this one right here, right? It has tension going upwards and the force of gravity going downwards. Or I can look at this one right here, which those don't matter because those don't affect the acceleration, and I would just use there the tension and the horizontal piece of gravity there. Okay, now it's totally up to you how you want to deal with that. Okay, I am going to choose this one. The reason why is because they both have two forces, right? This one has tension and gravity all on. This one has tension and the horizontal component. Even though I've got this already, I've used that horizontal component, I'm just less comfortable working with things that are on a ramp, and so this seems like the easier way to go. So if I look just at this, then what you'll notice is that all you have is the tension up and the force of gravity down. And so I'm going to go ahead and work through that. I did use orange over here, so I'll use orange. So I'm going to go sum of the forces on the 10 kilogram is equal to mass times acceleration of the 10 kilogram. Okay? So sum of the forces, I've got the force of gravity on the 10 block down. So that is downward. So I'm going to go ahead and make that negative, right? So I'm going to go minus FG10. I've got the tension upwards, and that needs to equal the mass times the acceleration. Now the acceleration of the 10 block is downward, and it is that 4.9, but I'll put that in just a second. Okay, that's all it is. Sum of the forces equals ma. Now this would be negative mg, okay, plus the tension equals the mass, which again is 10, times the acceleration. Now recognize here that the acceleration, even though it's 4.9, even though I got positive here, when I did this, I defined down as negative. And so because it is accelerating downwards, when I put in my acceleration here, I need to put negative 4.9. Now, if you want to avoid that, then when you write down MA here, you could put a negative in front of it, and then you could just put in the 4.9, because then you would have already designated the direction. Just be careful as you're putting things into an equation that you're paying attention to the direction. Either put it in here or put it in there. Don't put it in both. Don't make it negative and then put a negative 4.9 in, because that wouldn't be negative anymore. All right? From this point, you can tell all we have to do is solve for the t. So I'm going to go 10 times negative 4.9. And then I'm going to do 10 times 9.8. So I guess I didn't really need my calculator for that, sorry. So negative 98 plus t equals negative 49. And then I will add the 98 to the other side, which of course is 49. And so I would get that my tension is equal to 49 newtons. So, therefore, my force of gravity was 98 newtons down. My tension is 49 newtons up. And so because the tension down, the force down is bigger than the force up, it will accelerate downwards. Okay? Now I apologize, that doesn't look very clear, that final answer, so I'm gonna erase it just for you there at home, okay? To make sure that we understand that's 49 newtons. Okay? Now, one thing that I do want to point out, we have answered the question. We did get a positive number for the tension because tension is upward, it is positive. Okay? But the one thing I want to point out is to remember that this gives you a positive, an acceleration downwards. That does not mean that the block is moving downwards, right? Acceleration doesn't tell you what direction it's moving. It tells you how the velocity is changing. So a lot of times what we can do is we can say, well, we're going to start by giving this block a push down the ramp. And so initially, everything will be moving this direction. But as it's moving that direction, the acceleration is in the opposite direction. So it might have a speed in this direction, it'll slow down, and then it'll start speeding up in the other direction. So just like with all those problems we've done before, when we threw something up in the air, as it moved up, the acceleration was down, right? It slowed down, slowed down, slowed down, and then it started speeding up as it went down, right? Just because the acceleration is in the downward direction does not mean that it is moving that direction right now. If it starts from rest, then yes, it will start from rest, it will accelerate in that direction. But just be aware you could have some type of kinematics question that then said, if the block was given a 10 meter per second velocity down the ramp, how long would it take, or where would the block be after 3 seconds, right? And so you could use that initial velocity, you could use the acceleration, which is that direction, you could use the time of 3 seconds, right? You could use that information with kinematics to then determine where the block would be after a certain amount of time. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense, and you're opening your mind to different ways that this question could then be changed to allow it to connect to other things. All right, so that's the end of this video. Once again, I hope that was helpful, and we shall see you next time.